rose to her tiptoes and grabbed the card. Bright blue letters across the bottom read, "I hope your birthday is a real wiener." "Here you go." "Thank you." He inched the card open and proceeded to read the inside. It was as if Eliza had ceased to exist. She grinned and gave herself a mental pat on the back. Look at you, being totally normal. She'd even helped an elderly man and, in the process, found a perfectly acceptable card for her brother. All she had to do was reach up, grab another wiener dog, and... Oh no! She wobbled on her tiptoes, only for a second, but it was enough to throw her balance to the left, which was enough to bump her shoulder into the shelf of Valentine candy beside her, which was enough to send the giant 2-pound bar of chocolate tumbling straight onto... Oof! The old man leaned down to rub the top of his foot where the chocolate had landed. Green and gold sparkles shot from the side of his injury, filling the aisle with enough love luster to momentarily obliterate the pink and red decor. And when the luster began to fade, the scent of seawater and sun hit Eliza hard. She threw her hands over her mouth in panic. On the one hand, she needed to make sure the man was okay, but she also needed to get away from him before he could look up and... Well, hello. He bent into a sweeping bow. Too late. Eliza closed her eyes and dragged in a deep breath. Of course, it was too much to ask to make it through Red Clover without incident. Of course. "Sir, I'm very sorry." The old man straightened up as if the infatuation running through his ancient veins had taken 50 years off his age. He handed her the candy bar. A crack ran straight through the center of the chocolate. "Stu Vannerson," he said, "and it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance." Eliza's brain screeched to a halt. Stu Vannerson. Old Man Vannerson. He'd lived on their block years ago. Elijah used to cut his lawn. Eliza sold him Girl Scout cookies every year. Then he'd sold his house and moved to the Gold Lee assisted living villas across town. And now he was enchanted with her. Eliza forced herself to smile. This whole adoration by Hershey thing wasn't good, but it wasn't the end of the world either. She'd explain what had happened and then go about her not-so-merry way. Plus, once she left the store, the old man's hormones would settle back to near normal. In approximately 29.5 days, it would be like nothing had happened at all. Maybe Eros wasn't smiling down on her today, but he wasn't smiting her either. Crisis averted. "Mr. Vannerson, I'm Eliza Herman. I don't know if you remember, but you used to live down the street from me." His eyes sparkled. "The Cupid girl?" "Erosian." Maybe the rest of America, including the other descendants, had finally given up on explaining the difference between Cupid and Eros, but she still cringed every time. Great marketing strategy or not, she hated being associated with a chubby baby with wings. Of course, that probably had more to do with her personal issues than anything else. "When I dropped that chocolate bar on your foot," she started. "Well then, I'm pleased to make your acquaintance again after all these years. Please." He pulled off his jacket and spread it out on the floor in front of her. "Allow me to show you around my favorite store in Gold Lee. We have an excellent yogurt selection." Eliza stared at the jacket, covering a non-existent puddle, and debated her options. If she was late for her family's annual birthday extravaganza, her mother would never let her live it down. But Eliza had accidentally enchanted enough people to know this would be less painful for everyone if she simply let nature take its course. She looped her arm through the crook of his elbow and did her best to smile. "I can't wait to hear all about it." For the next 20 minutes, Eliza let Stu walk her through Red Clover. She feigned interest when he talked about the rising cost of bread. She let him make a grand production of walking on the outside as they passed the butcher counter, just in case there were any spills. She even let him con an unsuspecting worker into acting as their chaperone when the tour took them through the pharmaceuticals. Finally, they reached the long bay of cash registers at the front of the store. Stu laid a bony hand on hers with stars, or maybe that was the remnants of love luster, in his eyes. "I had a wonderful time, Eliza." "Thank you, Stu. I did too. Next time, I'll pick you up at your..."